Welcome to the group draw of the College Football Cup, which is the name of the tournament that I did last year. It will be returning this year for year 2 with the new College Football 26 game. Games may be able to be live streamed on the channel, just don't know quite yet. Hopefully I'll be able to break down each game after they happen and also before they happen. So for context, today is the group draw. Just start off, we have the 3 auto bids from last year's tournament. They finished first, second, and third. Georgia won the tournament last year and will be in Group A. Putting them there. Alabama finished runners up. They will be in Group B. Notre Dame finished third after beating Michigan and will be playing in Group C for the second year in a row. Georgia, their main goal of the tournament is to obviously repeat as champion. Alabama, their goal, make it back to the final and win the whole tournament this time around. Repeat as a repeat championship appearance, but make the tournament. No, wait. Win the tournament. They already made the tournament last year and they're in it this year, so. Okay. The first team, let's get ready with the group draw. The first team in Group D is Miami. Sorry if the video seems inverted. I may be able to edit it. I'm using a different editing program for this year. But if it isn't, ignore what I just said. This first team in Group E is South Carolina, making their first tournament appearance this year. Miami, their goal is to not finish last. Miami not finish last with in the entire out of all tournament teams, and also not finish 0-3. South Carolina, their goal, survive, maybe more if they get a favorable group, and there will be a change this year when it comes to the knockout stage and tiebreakers. Last year, it was an 8-team knockout stage with 2 wild cards. The top teams in each group move on, plus the 2 best second-place teams. This year, a 12-team knockout stage with the top 2 teams in each group moving on with straight seeding, like the college football playoff is doing this year. Change in tiebreakers. Multi-team group tiebreakers is changing in response to something that happened this past tournament. Under the previous rules, if 3 teams are tied, it first checks if one team has beaten the other 2 teams that are tied with them. If not, it goes through the remaining tiebreakers to determine the final standings. This led to what is most certainly a controversial moment with Florida State winning the group despite losing to Penn State, who they were tied with because NC State also finished with the same record. This year, again, it'll do the normal until, however, here's the difference. If the same scenario happens, it'll go through the normal tiebreakers, except if a team it'll do those tiebreakers until the two best teams are determined. Then they'll go through the normal old tiebreakers. Okay, now back to the group draw. The first team in Group F is Texas. We're not guaranteed a rematch of Georgia versus Texas this year. Or we'll have to wait for the knockout stage to see what happens. That was the first game of the knockout stage last year, in which Texas, the 1 seed, lost to the 8-seeded Georgia. On a last gasp touchdown. The second team in Group A is Penn State. Going to be interesting to see if Penn State, who was on the wrong side of the old tiebreakers last year, actually can finish at top of the group, although it's going to be difficult with the defending champion. The second team in Group B is Ole Miss. They're making a return. And yes, there will be... I am using the top 24 teams in the game that was just released hours ago. The second team in Group C is... Oh, Ole Miss, their goal is to not collapse from first in the group to last in the group. The second team in Group C is LSU. They're hoping to at least not finish last and also maybe actually make it to the knockout stage. Because they're an SEC team, there's quite a few SEC teams in this the tournament this year. The second team in Group D, and will be playing Miami at some point, is... Don't think so. Okay, the second team in Group D is Texas Tech from the Big 12. Gonna be interesting to see how well they do in the group with Miami. Oh, Miami has the quarterback from Georgia. Again, I forget his name. I knew the name earlier this morning, and it'll come to me at some point. Okay. The second team in Group E, and will be group mates with South Carolina, is Ohio State. They're hoping to at least make the knockout stage this year, and hopefully not in the group of death. Hopefully they're not in the group of death this year for the second year in a row. Although Group A is looking like they could be the group of death, the second team in Group F is, and will be group mates with Texas, Oregon. Group F and Group A are in the fight to be the group of death. We'll see how the group draw goes. Now, the third team in Group A is Clemson. Made the college football playoff in real life last year. Will it derail the group of death argument for Group A? Will there be a group of death this year? Last year was Group D, which the odd one out of that group, Arizona won the group. Although Arizona isn't in the tournament this year. The second team in Group B is Indiana. They're hoping in real life that the last year was just not a fluke. Also hoping that they could actually perform, but they have 2 SEC schools in their group, which is going to make a challenge. The third team in Group C is Texas A&M. They will be joining Notre Dame and LSU. Will we get more rivalries in the group stage? We'll see. I'm not seeing a lot of that. The third, possible candidates, but the third team in Group D is Florida. We'll be joining Miami and Texas Tech. The third team in Group E will be Arizona State. Made the playoff last year after winning the Big 12. They have South Carolina and Ohio State in their group. The third team in Group F is Oklahoma. Interesting choice by EA to put them in the top 25 teams, but they're normally a team that you would think of when it comes to college football, so some justification, but probably not as high as they should. They probably should be a little lower ranked than they are. And now the fourth team in Group A, will cap off Group A is Duke. Group of Death seems to have fallen off. We'll see if there's any possible candidates. So far, Group C looks like the biggest candidate so far. The fourth team in Group B is SMU. Making the tournament, they're hoping that last year wasn't a fluke, just like Indiana, which is they're actually in the same group. The fourth team in Group C and will cap off the teams in Group C is Tennessee. Hopefully, the quarterback that departed in the transfer portal earlier in the spring doesn't impact them too much, as Group C could be a possible group of death because a lot of these teams seem very strong. Now the fourth team in Group D is Michigan. We will not be getting Ohio State, Michigan. They were just a group off from getting that. The fourth team in Group E is Missouri. They will be playing South Carolina, Ohio State, Arizona State, and Arizona State. You can probably guess who's going to win that group if everything goes the way you'd expect. Because that group is completely filled. It has one powerhouse, and that is the defending national champion, Ohio State. Now, the final team to be drawn and will be in Group F is Auburn. Interesting that EA had put them in the top 25 best teams, that despite a 5-7 record. Don't expect them to do too well because Texas and Oregon are in the group. They're probably the favorites to move on to the knockout stage in that group. Group C is probably the best candidate for the group of death, but answer in the comments on which group you think is the group of death.